Let's talk about terror. What terrifies you, what gives you panic, what gives you fear, some of your greatest pains in your life, we look endlessly for the solutions for that, as if it is our biggest problem because we don't want to be in pain. Let's think about this, like rejection, like never losing, finding love, finding the opposite of your pain is the cure for everything that you hear in self-help. Yet we miss the greatest story that we could learn from our pain, that we could learn from all the bad things that happen to us, that all the things that terrify us in our biggest fears, what that can show us. And this is what we're talking about today, how that can help you, how we can not only get out of that pain, but look deeper within ourselves so that pain won't happen again. Because the fact of the matter is that if you do not solve the internal problems which keep writing this map out for you to walk on, you're going to end up in them again and again and again. And most likely it's going to get worse. This is the Daily Awesome Podcast. I am Steve Mayeda. I'm the founder of Austin Men's Development as well as The Sexual Life. Definitely check those out. If you want to be better as a man, if you want to have an empowered focus on your purpose, your social life, your career, your ambition, your body, your mind, all those things, that's what we talk about. That's what we do. This is actually recorded live on our Men's Development Excellence call. You can find out about the Men's Development Excellence group on the free stuff link down below. Now, that course isn't free, but there's the Austin Men's Development Board, which is free. There's our free PDFs. There's our library of videos, and then there are our playlists on our YouTube channel, which you should definitely also subscribe to. So be a part of all of that. We're a community. That's what we do. Let's get back into this subject. So because these are recorded live, what we do is we break down everything just from teaching it over and over again with guys. And this is such a common question or common concept that we address that later on, we put all these fancy slides up that you see here, breaking it down. So what we're talking about now is running from our pain. In fact, there's many videos that we have already on pain is your greatest teacher or your fear is your greatest teacher. And the reason for that is because our pain pinpoints us into a specific direction. Now, earlier today, actually, this happened on the call, a little separate situation, but I'll show you how common this is. I was getting text messages from a guy saying, hey, what do I text this girl in order to get her to respond? And I said, man, you ask this question a lot. You're in a point of anxiety. You're in a point of wondering what she wants, and you want the answer. And I've given you the answer many times, and probably you know the answer. But let's get to this, because the reason why it keeps happening is because you have not explored the part of you that wonders about the biggest fear. You have not been the guy that actually accepted that biggest fear. So much like in this situation where he's texting, he wants a response, he wants to set up a date, he wants all those things to go well. It's a common thing that all men go through. So give me the response. Well, we have those. There's so many different ways to do it. There's so many different, download the text messaging guide. It's for free actually on the free stuff link. But more importantly, let's look at what this shows. Why is it happening to him again? Not because the right thing is going to make him whole, but the right thing is going to get him through this girl, this relationship, this situation. But the real depth of his problem is something beyond that. Our step to getting there is to be able to face that. Now, what are some things that when we're in pain or we're looking to text message a girl, and we'll move this into another situation of how this actually came up on our call, is that you need to start looking at what happens if the worst thing comes. When we are in pain, we think if we do that, we're accepting weakness, we're letting go, we're quitting, we're accepting this sort of pain to continue in our life. Whereas actually the opposite of fighting it is the thing actually perpetuating it. So I asked him, I'm like, what do you think? What's happening? If you lose her, what's the big deal? And he's like, well, then I lose another girl and I'm just so frustrated because this happens in this way and people don't respond and women and blah, 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 blah. And women think in these different ways. They're so stupid and they don't get whatever with men and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's the blame train, man. You got to get off of it, because one thing about buying a ticket on that train is it will take you way further down the road into bigger things that aren't just women, but other things that have to do with women, interpersonal relationships, all sorts of stuff that will just wreck your life because you haven't solved this problem within yourself. So I said, that's not what's going on. What's actually going on with you is that is fueled by a fear of what? Of an anxiety of what? If she weren't to text you back, if you weren't going to get that date, if she rejected you after you had been dating, after you had been having sex, whatever the deal or situation of it is, man, what does that mean? What does that make you? And he went into it a little bit and he was like, well, you know, that I've gone on through this, that I don't like being alone, that I don't like being rejected. So I said, what does it mean? When you're rejected, what does that mean? When you're rejected by somebody, when you're turned down by somebody, what does that say about you? What's the big fear fighting that might be a possibility? See, nobody wants to look at that. And he's like, well, you know, I was left alone with my family. I didn't have that sort of tight-knit group. I was left alone and I didn't fit in with people. I felt that I was alienated from people and so on. And I'm like, well, so what does that mean? If that's true, what does that mean? And he was like, well, I don't know, that, you know, I guess this just doesn't work for me. And I'm like, no, that's an easy cop-out, man. See, we're so afraid to look at who we are that we make up all these different stories about avoiding actually looking at that, because we don't want to look at our pain, because if we look at our pain, we're accepting it more, we're allowing it in our lives, we're empowering it. No, we're actually getting used to it. We need to be able to sit into that tension. All right, now let's jump to the story of our client who's on the call right now in our MD Excellence call. It's 11 p.m., by the way. And there's guys that's going on and on about it's a great community to be a part of. But he actually said, man, the other day I had a nervous breakdown. But, you know, today's good because this and that's happening. And, you know, I made some money. I got another job offer. You know, all these things in life are working up. These are all the things that we chase. Again, we think that the opposite of our pain is our solution. No. Not at all. What our pain is showing us is a point of where to start. The opposite of our pain is actually pushing the time card, the punch card of pain and inviting it longer in our life because we're listening to it. We're running from something. So I said, look, man, if you had a nervous breakdown, the answer to your nervous breakdown isn't some good results in the next day. It's what's going on in your nervous breakdown. It's what's happening then. We're so afraid to look at that as a culture, as men. And we wonder why we're so confused about our empowerment, who we are, how we move, what works for us. We wonder why that we are so lost, that we always search for the superlative, having to be alpha, having to be the winner, having to be on top, that we lose the whole point and function of winning. We've lost the whole point of women, of sex, of being successful because we've accepted of life of running from the idea of what it would be not to be successful, not to be with women, so that we're not successful with women or success or whatever it is that we're looking for ourselves and our ambition, but really pushing that time card of the pain. We can't be what we feel. We can't face ourselves. And so I was telling him, I was like, look, man, there's a part of you that is actually looking at that nervous breakdown that you had. What is that about? Why did you have that? What's so troublesome about it? You know, what's so hard? And actually, let me tell you a situation, because there's so many times when I'm in pain in my life, and man, I love it and I hate it. I love it because it's teaching me something, but I hate it because it's so painful to be around. But a couple weeks ago, there was some time, and actually this is happening right now. Our accounts got hacked by somebody, and somebody walked away with a lot of money from us, and we don't have that money, and the bank's got to investigate it. It takes 2 weeks, it takes a month for them to see what's going on with the different fraudulent behavior. But there was a time a couple weeks ago where I didn't have money and I was panicked. I needed to get money. It frustrated me. I needed to have it right now. I was trying to sell a bunch of different stuff, and I was in a point, just like our client, where you know, it's not necessarily a nervous breakdown, but a high point of anxiety. Oh my God, I have to do it now. This has to work now. This has to be fixed. I need the solution. I need this. If I could just get this, but I can't get this. Oh my God, everything's against me. And this whole winding of thought comes about. Now, we talk about this in our negative thinking video that we recorded last week. We also talk about this with a lot of addiction stuff. But when I'm in this spot, I know that my most important thing is that, well, number one, I got to get out of danger. But number two, I have to learn to be able to sit into this tension. This is my sweetest spot where I can solve this problem within me. All right. So we can do all the affirmations afterwards. We can do all the writing about it afterwards. We can do all the processing. We can do all the therapy. But the most pivotal point when you're going through a traumatic time or a time of high stress is being able to deal with it in that moment. That is going to have the most leverage to continue to learn new behaviors and new ways to handle it. Now, it might not happen that one time. You might need to do it 4 or 5 times. Might even need to do it 10 or 20 times in that. But that is the most important time. So I start thinking things and I never know I'm in it, but I have to get this now. The immediacy, the urgency of it has to happen. The demand, the stress of that things are against me are having a heightened response, more angry, more quick to judgment, more quick to trying to categorize, more quick to blame. These are all signs that I'm in this mode where I am at a point of high stress or anxiety. This is also the point where I need to learn to calm down the most. So when I entered in that state, and I knew I was there because I was so deep in it, I'm trying to hustle up a bunch of stuff. I'm really stressed out. I'm getting angry. Then that starts to move into like the world's against me because, I can't get, I'm running out of gas. The gas station's in the wrong place. Somebody won't call me back. This certain, customer isn't able to meet with me. So many different things that just aren't happening that are kind of normal start to now work against me. Now, when we move into higher levels of, social dysfunction or different social disabilities, this starts to heighten in a big way and gets really, really toxic. But on this level, it means high anxiety is happening now. So I got to calm down. I got to show what that's teaching me. Well, the first step to that is what is the biggest fear here? That I run out of money. Maybe it's that my friends turn their back on me. Maybe it's that I'll never meet a woman. Maybe it's that once again, I've failed and I keep doing it. Well, why can't I accept that that's a possibility for me to sit in? Why can't I accept that if that was my reality, that I could live within it? Because so much of me attempting to fight against that is perpetuating it. Because when I fight against it, I do stupid things like look for the opposite of it. I'm in pain. I don't have money, so I'm going to make $1 million. I don't have women. I'm going to control women and have them in my life. I don't have happiness, so I'm going to find the most projected happiness and success so people think I'm good, and that's what's going to make me happy. The funny thing about that is never do I work at the real problem behind all of it. And it doesn't seem to make sense, but look, it is the answer here. And it's not just the answer because I'm telling you, but it's the answer because when you are searching for a fortune, when you're searching for a big win, when you're searching for women, the problem obviously isn't that you just don't have women. The problem is that when you have an ambition for success, you have ambition to be your best, you have ambition for sex, you have ambition for socializing. These are all natural things, but you're not doing it for that. You're actually doing it because you have a problem with feeling less than, feeling lonely, feeling like you can't do it, feeling like you're never going to make it work, feeling like you're fundamentally flawed and that you must just need to accept this way. If you pile success on top of that, if you pile the opposite of your pain on top of that, you have now then buried it into a deeper level. Let's think about this. I'm somebody that's lonely and I want women. I get women. The worst thing that can happen to you is the success of that, of actually getting women, because it'll make you a little bit happy. It'll make you somebody who has achieved all the things that are now said to work for you, but you're still unhappy. You're still lonely. Now you have all the women in the world. You have all the things you wanted to do. You have all the sexual behaviors that you wanted. You have friends, but they're not friends with you. They're not doing it for you. And you're still lonely. Then who must you be? You must be fundamentally flawed at the deepest level and just need to accept that you can never be happy. The same thing goes for money. I'm not successful at stuff, so I become successful. I get money. I get everything society says is good. Everybody now wants to be me in terms of money making. Yet I never solve the reason behind it. Now let's say we do solve that reason. Let's say we do solve that reason of feeling less than or inadequate or that you don't have anything that's worthwhile. And you're able to get to it. Well, working through those points of tension, man, the nervous breakdown is the best time to look at it. I know it hurts. I know it's painful, but that's why you're a part of a group. You got to reach out. You got to sit there and say, hey, look, man, I am going through this tough time. What can I do? You know what I'd tell you to do? Look at the pain. What's that pain telling you? If the worst were to happen, what would that say about you? Who would you have to be? What would your life be like for the rest of your life if you were to be the thing that you feared most? And can you accept that? And you know what happens then? We chill the fuck out. We chill the fuck out and we start to express. And let me tell you what success is like when you don't have pain behind it. I have a great relationship. I have love. I'm good with women. I'm great with sex. I no longer have that thing behind it saying I need control, or that I fear loneliness, or that I need this or else I'm nothing. I have success. I have a business, but I don't need to prove myself with it. I don't need to have it be a marker of my own image of self. And I'm very aware of that, because a lot of times when we are searching for women, or when I ask the guys on the call, and earlier today with my client, what's the pain with this? I don't have pain. I just want the answer. It's deeper than that. It's a lot deeper than that. None of those things affect my output and who I am. And then true ambition can be there. There's nothing wrong with that. But the ambition that tells you need more, to the point where you sacrifice you and your well-being just to get it, that's something dangerous. My purpose doesn't need anything else behind it other than that. My expression is to be myself in the purest way I can, which can be tough. And all those things, my ambition, purpose, and expression, can get compromised in many different ways. But man, I have a real clear spot to it. My expression of my social life, my sexuality, all comes out with me and who I am. So that my good day is defined by how I feel with the people around me, and not by the world of people that I don't know, of decisions and thoughts and different social movements that other people have thought up of, just so I can feel a part of something that I become, the slave to, that I lower myself to. Where does all that come from? When we have to be a part of a cause or a movement, or achieve some sort of goal because somebody else said so, or it's supposed to make us happy, that's only because we don't have the answer within us. The only person that's going to say yes to that decision is somebody who already feels loneliness, pain, duress, and lack of confidence within themselves. And we don't want to be that guy. Look, when you have a point of tension, when you have a point of confusion, when you have a point of pain, it's literally one of the best opportunities for you to relax within. Calm that down, accept it. Almost always you can take an extra 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an extra day to allow that to process rather than move into the mode of emergency to have to fix it, and keep training your body and mind to explode your nervous system into just a cascade of chaos. That's not how we win. That's not how we succeed. At the right times in our lives, we'll know how to turn on the heat when a true challenge comes our way. But it's rarely a life or death situation when these certain things happen day to day. It can wait a day. It could wait 5 minutes. You thinking clearly and you settling down is one of the most important life skills that you can learn to live by. In any case, this is our Daily Awesome podcast. Subscribe to it, be a part of our communities, and click our free stuff link down below. And of course, what's so important is if you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher, even if you're watching on YouTube, check out our playlists that we have, with different topics. If you're a 12-step person, if you're somebody that is looking for sexual escalation, if you're somebody that's looking for rapport, connection, if you're somebody that's looking how to rewire your brain, there's all sorts of different playlists of excellent content for you to partake in, engage in, and better yourself as a person. And of course, the free stuff link will let you into our free groups. They'll tell you about our paid groups as well, but also give you our PDFs and the different video and training courses that we have, all for you. And there's a ton for free. So we'll talk to you soon. Steve Mayeda signing off, Daily Awesome Podcast. Talk to you guys later.